loaded depending on some other components. For instance, the transmission part, like the lead screw, the slack in between these two parts, maybe even larger than 0.1 thousand inch. But anyway, the sensor itself is capable of detecting that much difference. Now the next step what I want to do is since I'm going to draw something on the paper, and I'm going to draw it right on the Z0. So the paper is supposed to be my reference Z plane. I want to set that to be my Z0. How I do that, I'm going to bring the pen down to the paper. So if you replace the paper with the real part, and you want to machine in the part, then the first thing you need to do is to bring the tool to the surface of the part and set that to be your 0. Then everything else can be programmed according to the reference. So setting up the reference is usually the very first step. It's also the main job of the machinist. His job is setting up the machine, then all he has to do is to load up the program, hit the start button, then everything else is taken over by the controller. So his only job is to set up the tool to the right spot, tell the machine, now I tell you what 0 is, you just do your job. So that's the machinist's job. So I'm going to show you how to set it up. So to set it up, the Z is the most critical one. Let's do the Z. So first I will use relative fast motion to bring the tool quickly approaching to the surface. So when it's getting pretty close, I use step motion. I use 100 unit step. So it's getting pretty close now. I'm going to lower the resolution down, so it's 10 basic unit. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to put a piece of paper on the reference point, and I constantly there's glue on this side. And you can just constantly move the paper, and in the meanwhile, you just lower down the table little by little. At a certain point, now I feel some resistance, so I know it's almost to get to the surface. I can go a little further. So it's already scratched the surface. I guess the ink is dry. But suppose it's already on the surface. You can see the paper was being scratched by the ball pen. So if you replace with a tool, you can do the same thing using this. But that's a very rough way of setting up the reference, because you have some error. You based on your sense of touch. And the more accurate way of doing that is to use a real tool setter. The tool setter is a sensor. You can put it on the top of the surface. And the top surface is exactly 1 inch from the reference surface. And the top of the surface is a very dedicated sensor. It's just like have you used the dial indicator? Those dial indicator, if you touch it a little bit, it can detect 1/1000 of inch difference in the distance. So use that one, you can set the tool very accurately. This one, even the thickness of the paper may be a few thousandths inch. So, but you don't care about that since we're just drawing something on the paper. But if you're doing some precision machining, then you really need to care about how accurate you set the surface to be 0. So this is supposed to be our machine 0. I want to set this to be my 0, so I type in Z0, and I want to tell the machine the current Z is my 0, so I simply just enter. So right now it's not 0, it's negative 0.005, 5 thousandths. So I want to change that to 0, you just enter, then it becomes 0. You can set the current position to any number you like. So I say Z1, enter, this one changed to 1. So there's some error here, like this 0.5 thousandths difference. Again, Z2.5, enter, will change to 2.5. Therefore, if you have some reference, for instance, the tool setter nominal value is 1, then you just type in Z1, you set the Z0 accurately. Okay, so that's our 0. For another demonstration, I'm going to draw the house from here. So the program actually assuming the 0 is the lower left corner of the house. So I'm going to move the tool up, and I'm going to move the accent, move the Y backwards. Okay, suppose this is the location I like, although I kind of arbitrarily set this up. Assuming that this is somewhere I want to start my drawing of house, I'm going to set this one to be my Y0. Okay. In the Y coordinate, like in this direction, I think this location is about right. So I set this to be my 0, so it's Y, and reset it. And I also can set this location to be my X0. And the Z0 is still on the paper because right now it's off the paper and it shows it's 0.9. The tip of the tool is 0.9 inches above the surface. Okay, so everything was set up. Now I can load the program and let it do the job. So let's see, I can go to the program, and this is the program I used to draw the house. I select that, and before I do the drawing, I want to actually simulate the program to see what exactly the program is doing. So there is a function called draw. I draw on the screen. Okay. And you can hit the run to do the simulation run. So the white lines are the figure you are drawing, and you also see there's a few lines in red. Those red lines is also motion, but it's moving above the 0 plane. So you see this white line here is lifting the pen up. So it's drawing somewhere on top of the work plane. So it didn't really impact the workpiece. So everything looks right. So we can go ahead and start. So you can also see the X, positive Y. So the corner, lower left corner of the house is considered as my X0, Y0, Z0. So seems like everything was set properly. Now we can exit. And the program I just selected is shown here. If I change to automatic mode, then the program will show up here, line by line. If I hit the start button, which is the green button here, we'll run the program. So let's go ahead to try to run the program. It will jump directly to the D0. First to draw the left side wall, then draw the roof. And it will finish the frame of the house. Then the pen lift it up and start the drawing of the circle. If you pay attention when it's draw a circle, this axis goes actually in both ways. So forward and backwards. You see both axes was running simultaneously. And they coordinate their motion to generate the desired shape. Okay. So that's the end of the program. So you can imagine if you have something like put a real tool in it, turn the spindle, and also you have a real workpiece here, and you cut into the workpiece. For instance, you set the 0 to be slightly inside the workpiece. Then you actually make in slots on the parts, and the outline of the slots is going to have exactly the shape like this. And if you alternate in the z-axis, you can create three-dimensional geometry. So the idea of CNC machining is basically using the controller to accurately, very precisely control the motion of the tool with respect to the workpiece to generate the desired geometry or features you like. And in this lab, we are going to teach you manually do the programming. For manual programming, usually the amount of work you can accomplish is very minimal. You can do very simple job. If you really want to make a mold, then manual programming is impossible, almost impossible, because the line of code is going to be thousands of lines, even 10,000, over 10,000 lines. So the only way you can really create a program like that is using some CAM software. Like for instance, the Creo is able to do that. You can, have you started taking the course on design using Creo to generate the three-dimensional drawing or three-dimensional model? So once the design was done, you can use another module for the manufacturing, and that module can facilitate the automatic generation of the G codes that you will learn today. Okay, that's the operation of the machine. The other operation that I didn't show you, I can quickly go through. You can go to the manual mode. I can still run the program like line by line. I can actually type in the program. For instance, I want to go to a certain location. For instance, I want to go to X2, Y5, for instance. I want to go to that spot directly, go straight line. How can I achieve that? I can type in the command. Then what I should do is just, instead of using the enter button, I'm using the execution button, the green button. The word just goes straight to there. And that's about, like, the basic operation is just that much. And I can easily teach you how to run a CNC machine within an hour. Then the program part is also pretty easy. It's a G code. I can also explain that within an hour.